When I was younger, I watched a lot of movies, and recently I can't help but notice how much longer the new ones are than those were. Where movies used to be 1.5 to 2 hours long, they're now 2.5 to 3. I'm not even close to the first person to mention this, but I've been thinking a lot lately about if this change is actually for the better. I see people complaining all over the internet about how movies are too long now and who can actually sit through something like that, and I kinda agree to an extent, but the truth is that people nowadays have very short attention spans thanks to TikTok and somewhat to streaming services, so they get distracted or bored an hour or so into the movie. This is why the miniseries became a thing, and while I do enjoy watching a miniseries, there's just something about movies you can't capture if there are chances to stop the story in the middle. Before we dive deeper, make sure to subscribe to Nate's Media Digest if you enjoy movie reviews and videos like this. This summer is going to be big for new movies, and I'll be covering a lot of them here. In general, movies offer a never-before-seen world filled with endless curiosity and a multitude of possibilities. This is an amazing concept, and the reason many people, including myself, enjoy watching them so much. The purpose of most movies is to lose yourself in the experience, to become so immersed you feel like you're a part of the world that's being created, and the length of a movie often has a lot more to do with this than one might expect. If a movie is too long, it can feel empty, lacking the story points and character progression that is necessary to keep us entertained and interested in what we're watching. If that same movie is too short, it can instead lead to underdeveloped characters and a story that feels unresolved by the time the credits roll, so finding that perfect length is a crucial part in determining the success of a film. Arguably, one of the most important aspects of a movie is the pacing, because this determines if you'll have the problems I just mentioned. I believe that people aren't necessarily having issues with long movies as much as they're having issues with poor pacing. Let's take Avatar: The Way of Water into consideration for a minute. This is a prime example of a movie that was paced perfectly in my opinion and had a runtime of around 3 hours and 12 minutes. This is an incredibly long movie even now, but I hardly saw any complaints about the length from people who watched it. Of course there are people mentioning how long it is, but the majority of reviews didn't mention length, because once you were in the theater watching it, you were completely sucked in. The story continued progressing at a steady rate, giving new side stories gradually as well as quickly resolving old ones. This is how movies this length are meant to be done, and it greatly benefited from the extended runtime. Without that extra time, they would have never been able to fit all of the extra detail into the world that made it feel living and breathing, which in turn made viewers care more about what was happening. Another example of this are the Harry Potter movies, which were lengthy movies especially for the time. These movies are praised for the amount of detail in the world as well as with the characters, and without them being around 2.5 hours each, this couldn't have happened. It enabled the creators to slow down and introduce the characters and world in a way that worked for the franchise and give fans practically everything they wanted out of the movies. I will admit, I think movies that are done right should be long because it gives more opportunity to flesh out what is being created, but I know it can make it harder for casual moviegoers. This is where the debate comes in, and I think where it really started in the first place. Not everyone wants to sit down and be completely immersed in a movie. That's just not appealing to some people, so a long movie, whether done well or not, just can't hold their attention. This leads to casual movie fans feeling like they are missing out on good movies because they exceed the amount of time they're willing to sit in a theater or in front of a TV, and it is a genuine concern. Because of this, the question that needs to be asked is, who are these movies made for? This is why long runtimes are typically only seen in movies that are heavily story-based like superhero movies, dramas, and fantasy movies, as well as other genres similar to these. This is because those genres are backed by hardcore fans. They know the majority of the people that are going to watch this are highly interested in everything that is being offered, and the fans would be happy to consume as much content as possible. And because of this, the genres like comedy, animation, and family-focused movies have shorter runtimes. That's not to say there aren't hardcore fans for these genres, because there are, but the majority of viewers won't be more than casual movie fans. It obviously isn't always the case, but it's very common for these types of movies to hover around an hour and a half because this seems to work best for them. I think this is definitely the right choice because I can't imagine sitting and watching a comedy for 3 hours. It just wouldn't be enough to hold my attention in most cases. Everyone has their own opinion on this topic, but to me I think longer movies means more to look forward to. Of course not all of them are executed well and will be boring after an hour or so, but the ones that are done right are 100% deserving of that long runtime. I'd like to know your opinion on the topic. Do you think long movies are a problem that will lead to them being less popular? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date with my videos. I'll see you next time.